If you have been convinced by the fitness industry that you need pre-workout, BCAAs, creatine, mass gainers, fat burners, and a cabinet full of expensive powders and pills to build a significant amount of muscle, then this video is going to be one of the most financially and physiologically liberating things you have ever watched. Because the truth that the supplement industry spends billions of dollars in marketing every year to obscure is that the overwhelming majority of your muscle building results, research suggests somewhere between 90 and 95%, are determined by 4 completely free variables that require no purchase, no subscription, and no product. And understanding this with complete clarity will allow you to redirect your supplement budget toward the actual food that builds muscle while eliminating the psychological dependency on external products that keeps most people from ever developing confidence in their own body's natural capacity to grow. The first and most important variable is progressive overload applied through compound movements. And this requires nothing but access to any form of resistance. A barbell, dumbbells, resistance bands, or even your own body weight progressed intelligently. Because muscle growth at the cellular level is triggered by mechanical tension applied to muscle fibers, specifically the mechanotransduction process that activates mTORC1 signaling and initiates muscle protein synthesis, and this biological process is completely indifferent to whether you took a pre-workout 30 minutes before your session or trained in a completely fasted state with nothing but water, because the stimulus for muscle protein synthesis is mechanical tension generated by muscle fiber recruitment under load, not the presence of stimulants, vasodilators, or proprietary blends in your bloodstream. A study published in the European Journal of Sport Science directly compared trained subjects performing resistance exercise with and without pre-workout supplementation and found no significant difference in training volume, strength output, or acute muscle protein synthesis response, confirming that the feeling of enhanced performance that pre-workout creates is primarily a psychological and stimulant-driven perception, rather than a measurable enhancement of the mechanical stimulus your muscles receive. And the practical implication is that every session of progressive, compound-focused resistance training you perform without supplements is producing the same muscle-building signal as every session you perform with them, which means you have never needed them to build muscle, and you do not need them now. The second variable is dietary protein from whole food sources, and this is where the supplement industry's most successful manipulation occurs. The suggestion that protein from a powder is somehow superior to or more bioavailable than protein from chicken, eggs, fish, beef, dairy, or legumes, which is not supported by the research on protein quality and muscle protein synthesis. A comprehensive review by Van Loon and colleagues on dietary protein and muscle protein synthesis confirmed that whole food protein sources with complete amino acid profiles, meaning they contain all 9 essential amino acids, including sufficient leucine to trigger mTORC1 activation, produce muscle protein synthesis responses equivalent to protein supplements when matched for leucine content and total protein dose. And the foods that meet this criterion are extraordinarily accessible. 4 large eggs contain 24 grams of complete protein with approximately 2.4 grams of leucine. 200 grams of chicken breast contains 46 grams of protein with 3.6 grams of leucine. 250 grams of Greek yogurt contains 17 grams of protein, and 1 cup of cooked lentils contains 18 grams of protein that, while not complete on its own, becomes complete when combined with rice or any grain source. meaning a natural lifter can hit their entire daily protein target of 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight through whole foods alone for a fraction of the cost of protein supplements, while simultaneously consuming the micronutrients, fiber, and bioactive compounds that whole foods contain and protein powder does not. The third variable is sleep, and I have covered this in previous videos, but its importance in the context of supplement-free muscle building cannot be overstated. Growth hormone, which is the primary anabolic hormone your body uses to drive satellite cell activation, connective tissue repair, and IGF-1 mediated muscle protein synthesis, is released almost entirely during slow-wave deep sleep in pulses that peak in the first few hours after sleep onset. And the total growth hormone output of a person sleeping 8 hours of quality sleep is so dramatically higher than the output of someone sleeping 5 to 6 hours that sleep quality is a more powerful anabolic intervention than any legal supplement available on the market. Research from the University of Chicago demonstrated that 1 week of sleep restriction to 5.5 hours per night reduced anabolic hormone levels and increased catabolic cortisol to a degree that measurably impaired muscle protein synthesis and recovery. And the reversal of this impairment required nothing but restoring sleep duration. No supplement, no drug, no intervention other than sleeping more, confirming that your bed is the most powerful and most completely free muscle building tool in existence, and the one that most people are chronically underutilizing while spending money on products that cannot compensate for its absence. The fourth variable is caloric surplus from whole foods, and specifically the strategic use of carbohydrates around training to maximize glycogen availability and insulin-mediated nutrient uptake. The supplement industry sells this as a necessity for mass gainers, intra-workout carbohydrate products, and post-workout insulin spiking formulas. But the research on nutrient timing by Alan Aragon and Brad Schoenfeld, published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, shows that total daily caloric and macronutrient intake is the primary determinant of muscle growth outcomes, and that the precise timing of nutrients around training produces only marginal additional benefits that are completely irrelevant if total daily intake is not first optimized, meaning a natural lifter eating sufficient total calories and protein from whole foods across the day will build exactly as much muscle as one spending hundreds of dollars on pre- and post-workout nutrition products. And the complete framework for building maximum muscle without a single supplement is this: train with progressive overload on compound movements 3 to 4 times per week, eat 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram from whole food sources distributed across 3 to 5 meals daily, maintain a modest caloric surplus of 200 to 300 calories above your maintenance from whole foods, sleep 7 to 9 hours as your primary anabolic hormone optimization strategy, manage stress to keep cortisol from suppressing your natural testosterone and growth hormone output, and understand with complete conviction that your body does not know or care what brand of protein powder you use or whether you took a pre-workout. It only knows whether it receives sufficient mechanical tension from progressive training, sufficient amino acids from dietary protein, sufficient energy from food, and sufficient recovery time from sleep. And when all 4 of those variables are present consistently, muscle growth is a biological inevitability that no supplement accelerates and no lack of supplement can prevent.